So let's talk about the cost approach to value. The cost approach to value on an appraisal is a little box, a little area on the appraisal. I forget the exact page, page 4 maybe of an appraisal, a single family residential appraisal. And quite often we get calls from homeowners, maybe recent buyers who ended up with the appraisal in their lap, or a seller, or maybe even on a refinance they get the appraisal in their hand and they start looking it over. Maybe they don't agree with value, which is very common these days given the state of the real estate market. But on there is a section called the cost approach. And although the cost approach is typically not utilized if homes are less than, say, 15 years old, the cost approach really doesn't apply to value. And in fact, the cost approach really only applies in new construction type homes where we have actual costs and we can compare it against the market. But in homes 10 to 15 years old or older, the cost approach typically by most appraisers is not utilized. It may be filled out, but then the question comes in, where do you get that information or that data? The most common data source for the cost approach is a little black book we call the Marshall and Swift Cost Guide. And in there they compile data from all around the country, building costs, cost to pour a driveway, cost to pour a foundation, cost to put metal doors versus wood doors, cost to pour an 8-foot basement versus a 9-foot basement, so on and so forth. So basically every amenity that you could put into the improvements on a piece of land, i.e. a house, there's a cost for. Are those costs always accurate? In my opinion, no. We have to adjust those cost figures with local knowledge. Our professional experience weighs into that. For example, how much local builders and developers may cost to build the house or to oversee the project plays into those overall costs. So the cost approach, if you see it there, is comprised of, first, a site value. Site value is just like it sounds, the value of the land without the house on it. So typically most lenders want to see if the house was blown away by a tornado, for example, what's the land worth? So we assign, based again on professional experience, knowledge, and research into the market, vacant land sales typically, we assign a value to the site. Again, may not be exactly accurate. Some people dispute the value of the land based on the site value that we put in, but we try and derive it based on vacant land sales. Then you have the cost of improvements to that land in the cost approach. So building costs, construction costs, you'll see a dollar per square foot cost both for the foundation and everything above grade. From there you'll see site improvement costs like driveways, patios, decks. You'll see amenities costs like air conditioning, fireplace, so on and so forth. And again, the banks typically, in most single-family residential sales, are not basing market value off the cost approach. Quite often the cost approach is skewed and not accurate because it doesn't necessarily represent what the average buyer will pay in the current market. So in most cases, I would tell you, if you see the cost approach on your appraisal, disregard it as an accurate opinion of value. Look more at the sales comparison approach, as that is a more accurate depiction of what buyers will pay, what you would pay for a similar property in the current market. So again, as with all the videos in this series, you can click the little box here or the little box here. You can kind of choose your own ending. You can go to the next video either way. So if you have more questions, you can click in this box and you'll see what you get, and click on this one, you'll see what you get. That's the cost approach to value.